Concerts, shows, festivals, gigs, whatever you want to call them, they are an evening of live musical entertainment that pull people together from all walks of life. And everybody acts a little differently when they get to see their favourite performer or artist or band take to a live stage. So in today's video we're taking a satirical look at some of the types of people you may encounter at a live music event. If you do end up enjoying this video, then please do share it with your gig friends. You never know, it can turn into a game of bingo. See how many you can spot next time you are at a live music performance. Kicking things off, we do have the Fanatic. Now this is your grade A superfan. They know every lyric to every song, every B-side, every EP. If the band or the artist has put music out, they know every line and the detailed history behind almost every single one of those songs. They also probably have a real variety of merch, 101 t-shirts, maybe some vinyl records, some CDs, you name it, they have got it. And they've probably been to as many shows as they possibly can. For some artists that may be over 100 live performances depending on cost and availability. They will also be queuing for hours or in some cases even days to make sure they are at the front, right at the barrier, right in the middle, and if you challenge them on that or try and beat them to the punch, they will feel it is their God-given right to be right at the centre of the stage, right at the front, because they are such a big fan. And don't you dare challenge their knowledge of the performer. If they were to go on Mastermind, you know that that performer would be their specialist subject and they would know every ounce and every detail of everything to do around the person they are going to see. And these superfans can come in all different types of forms. You get some that are extremely friendly and love spreading the message of their favourite performer, but you get some that are also on the flip side almost obsessed. It's almost like an obsession. They kind of stalk and follow the performer around or the band and really just have to feel like they are almost best friends with them at times, and it can almost be a little bit corruptive of times because their obsession has gone too far. Next up we do have the Disciple, who's a bit of a step down from the Fanatic. They still know almost every single line of every single song by the performer. This performer would probably rank in their top 10 across all the musical acts that they listen to, and because of this they are generally the best people to get knowledge from. You want to know something about a song or something about a particular track, they will be able to inform you, and they're much more approachable and easy to liaise with than a superfan. And this is often because they're not going to explode with excitement as soon as you try and generate a bit of a conversation, going back to that obsessiveness from the superfans. Generally, the Disciple has been following the performer for quite some time, especially if they have 5 or 6 albums in their discography. They've often been listening since day one and really just been taken on the journey with the performer and have grown to appreciate them over time in a healthy way. On most occasions, they can be really interesting to liaise with. They'll tell you the backstory of how they came to know about the performer, why they started listening, and they make informed choices on why they like the actual act, and they can explain why or what they love about the music that just really speaks to them and pass that on to you. So again, that shared knowledge. The one downside to the Disciple though is that they can at times look down on people who don't like the band as much as them, and they can try and convert people and really make it so that they like the band more than they actually do, and really try and inform somebody else's choices in the music they like or the band's performance that they like as well. Next up we do have your average Joe. Now this is somebody you'll see a lot more at a festival where there's a lot of variety on show, different performers. Usually at a gig or a specified concert you'll often find that most people there will be maybe somewhere between a Disciple and an average Joe. They may be checking the band out for the first time, they may be just coming to their first concert by this performer, so you do get a real mix, but festivals does tend to be where a lot of your average Joes do reside, and they tend to like the band or the performer, but they don't know every song, they don't know every lyric. They'll sing along to the big hits that everybody knows to sing along to, but a lot of the more back catalogue tracks they won't often know, and they're really easy just to have a chat with when you're just stood next to them, because generally they want to know more about the performer taking to the stage, and they're interested to learn rather than feeling like they have that overarching knowledge and look down on you like the Disciple does. Next up in our list we do have the plus one. You know that person that's just been dragged along because their spouse, their friend, anybody in their family really needed an extra person to go along with, or someone has dropped out last minute. You often see men at Taylor Swift concerts that have gone there with their partner and they just look absolutely miserable, and you can often tell they do feel a little bit lost at times. They feel like they don't quite fit in, and you'll often see them looking quite awkward, and as soon as you ask them how they know about the performer, they'll go, I don't know, I'm just here with X person, and you can feel quite sorry for them at times. The one good thing about the +1 though is you can gain a great appreciation for a performer because you've been put in a situation you're not used to, and you may find that sometimes going into a concert you don't really know the performer can often lead you to becoming really enveloped by the performance and really getting to enjoy the performer more. Now we move into the technician, somebody that always comments on the quality of the lights, the quality of the sound. They always can pick up on the nuances and feel like they could be doing a better job as an engineer than the actual light and sound techies are doing themselves. They'll comment on the fact that the lights are too bright, that the sound is too low, the guitar needs turning up, the drums need lowering. They know every little thing they feel about the actual stage setup and how it should be, despite having probably no previous experience working in one of those roles. You'll often hear them making comments such as who is mixing this and things like that, because they just really can't get to grips with why something may sound slightly off. And in some cases they may actually be right, but obviously if you're stood at different positions within a large venue, things are going to sound slightly different. If you are stood right next to the speaker, it's going to sound slightly different from the back of the room, and they often don't think about that because they feel that they know the best setup for that particular show. Next up we do have one of my personal favourites. It is the Bobblehead. Now these people are like, it's like they've been frozen by Medusa from the neck down. Their arms don't move, their legs don't move, there's absolutely no movement in their body whatsoever, but you will notice their head bobbing along to the actual track that is being played, just this up and down motion constantly. You may occasionally, if you're lucky, get a little bit of left and right, but tends to be just that single head movement throughout the entirety of a show, and it looks so weird if you observe it, someone doing it, because you'll see a lot of people dancing around, really getting involved with the music, but for them it is very simple. They are enjoying it, but they just make very limited movement and almost look like they're frozen solid, or just like one of those little pop figures with bobbleheads on them. That leads us straight into another form of person that makes a lot of jaw movements in the form of the Jabberjaw. This is somebody who wants to talk through the entire set, and it's so annoying when they're stood right next to you because they're not just talking in a low tone. Because of the music, they are often shouting over, trying to shout over the music, and it's all you can hear in one of your ears, and you will often at times have to tell them to shut up because you're trying to enjoy the music that's being played and you simply can't. But often they'll meet you with aggression. They'll be like, well, I paid for my ticket, I can do whatever I want while I'm here, and they will generally ruin the experience for those people around them, unfortunately. But that's just the way that some people are. But it's not just a case of them talking for 30 seconds at a time, it is the entire show. It's like they're catching up with a friend they haven't seen in 7 years and they want to really rewrite War and Peace with them, and they pick the worst time to do so. Go along, just enjoy the music. You can talk to your friend after or before the show, or in the interval between the support and the main act, but when they're actually performing, get your eyes forward, shut up, and just stop talking to your friends and enjoy the music. Then we have another irritating type of person. This is the Space Invader. Now I get it, you're at a festival, you're at a concert, and everybody's crammed in like anchovies in a tin. It's been quite hard to move around, but you can still have that reasonable personal space around you, even if you're kind of squished together, shoulders squeezed up. But when you've got somebody who's just right behind you, breathing down your neck, it can get a little bit anxious at times because they are just that one step too close. I get that it can be difficult if everyone's crammed in, but venues have a limited capacity for that very reason, so that you don't have to be literally on top of somebody so close that you can literally hear them breathing. The other downside to the Space Invader, as soon as they start cheering or screaming, if they are stood right behind you, you can hear it right in your ear. That's gonna be extremely annoying as soon as you hear that, because it's just gonna give you tinnitus pretty much, because they're so close to the back of you that you can just hear it. It almost ripples through you like this really sharp, horrible sound. Then we move into one that you will typically see at any rock, indie or metal concert. It is the Wrecking Ball. They think they are Miley Cyrus. They want to just slam into everybody. They're really trying to either start a pit or something like that, but they will just literally just be throwing their weight around. And if it's someone that's quite minute and quite thin, then you can get away with it. But if it's someone that's got a bit of bulk to them, you are going to feel this as soon as they start slamming around. They're just moving the crowd over. They're like a bowling ball whacking into a load of Skittles. It's like they're trying their best to try and get a strike, and it can be really irritating when you're looking at the stage, really enjoying the show, and next minute you've got 100 pounds of pressure coming right at you, sending you flying across an area. Another typical type of person you will see at a rock or metal show is the pit dweller. They're almost like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. No matter where they are in the room, you just hear them going pit, 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 pit. They're looking for the pit at every opportunity, whether to either get into one or to start one. They will make it their mission to get the crowd amped up. And don't get me wrong, at a rock and metal show, it works perfectly. You expect a pit to be somewhere in the front center of the stage, just in the audience, but this person will try and start one absolutely anywhere. They're in the back corner of the room, they will try and start one. If it's a festival, they will just pick where they currently are. They'll try and grab people around them and just literally repeat to people, pit, 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 and they will try and get as many people on board. They have to be very charismatic to really get it going, and they do on occasions manage to pull it off. But certainly when you're someone that stood next to one of these people and you do not want to be in the pit, you are getting dragged into that if they are very successful, which cannot leave you in the best of positions, having to try and move away from it if you need to. Next up, we do have one of my personal nightmares at any gig I do attend, and that is the director. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've got a phone, you want to take a few snaps and things like that and record one song on your phone, that's not a problem. But when you've got these people in front of you that want to record the entire set on their phone, not just one song, but every single track that is being played, and they're holding the phone up above their head, they're blocking your view, and it's like, why? Why can't you just live in the moment, enjoy the show, and really just get on with it? Do you know how many people actually take these recordings and then watch them back? To be honest, I think it's about 10% of people will actually do so, because half the time the sound quality is either terrible, the camera's shaking all over the place because they're jumping up and down at the same time. Stop recording the entire set on your phone and just simply live in the moment. Sometimes you want to just grab them, shake them, and just tell them to stop, because it can be so annoying when they're just doing it throughout the entire set. It's just, they're not paying the same attention to the performer that's on the stage, providing a fantastic performance, because they're so focused on sharing it on Snapchat or TikTok or any of these social medias with their friends and really showing what a great time they're potentially having, whilst also ruining the experience of the people that are stuck behind them. Then we have another type of person that doesn't pay attention because they're usually too drunk or high, and that is the senseless. You'll often see these at festivals. They're so smashed out of their face, they have no idea what's going on. You could tell them that they're at a silent disco and they would probably believe. You could tell them that you're in Teletubby land and they would just go along with it. And they can be really annoying at times because they'll just start shouting for no reason whatsoever, because they are completely clueless as to what is going on. You've paid all this money to go to a performance, a concert festival, and you don't actually remember half the experience because of the simple fact that you won't remember any of it the next day. And they can often be a bit of a nuisance to a lot of the people around them because they just make such a racket and really aren't getting involved like everybody else is. Now we move into the crescendo, the types of people that will often miss out on the support act and only show up for the main act, which for most people I agree with, that's absolutely fine. But when you've got these people that only show up for the main act, but they try and force their way to the front, they want to be in the front 2 rows despite coming about 5 minutes before they actually come on stage. If you want us to get so close and see your favourite performer up close, get there earlier, support the support acts. It's as simple as that. But when you've got people coming in so late, rather than trying to just queue up like a normal person that wants to be at the front, they will do their best to force their way forward. Oh, my friend is at the front, even though I've just got here and I'm not actually here with any friends. Or they'll make up the most random excuse to try and get their way past you. And sometimes you may choose to act as a little bit of a bouncer, holding them back because they don't deserve to be at the front, because they just haven't done what the rest of the people at the front had done and actually spent some time queuing for a couple of hours and come and support the initial acts that are taking to the stage that really need that extra bit of help to really get them going in their careers. Now we're moving into the Broadway Star. Now don't get me wrong, everybody loves to have a sing-song at a concert. Whichever band performer you're going to see, if you know the songs, you are going to sing along, and that is completely fine. But the Broadway Star loves to try and sing that just every song above everybody else. They're looking for that status, they're looking for people to take notice of them as they sing along like they are the main star at the centre of the stage. They may as well go and replace whoever's on the stage because that's where they think they should be. And they're singing so loud that if you're anywhere within maybe 20 feet of them, you can hear them probably over the act on the stage, because they're trying so hard to get noticed and for people to realise the incredible voice that they have, when most of the time they sound absolutely terrible because they're trying to sing so loud that they are stretching their vocal cord. Rounding out today's list, we do have the Trebuchet. They do think they are a medieval piece of equipment designed for launching things, whether it be their drinks, their shoes, items of clothing. I've seen stuffed animals be thrown around, beach balls, you name it, they will find anything they can get their hands on and they will throw it. And it's often premeditated because they will be bringing those things with the concert to the concert with them, and they're just looking to cause as much damage sometimes as possible. I mean, if you're throwing a drink across a room, you are going to cover absolutely everybody. And don't get me wrong, a venue that is enclosed is going to have a lot of people getting very sweaty, and because of the amount of movement that's going on, the amount of heat. But the last thing you need to do is just add more fuel to that fire. And you also probably spent about £6 on that drink because they're that expensive. Why go and waste it? Just drink it and stop throwing things halfway across the room. So there we have it, 15 types of people you may encounter at a live music performance. But if there's any others you think I missed, or you've got some interesting suggestions for some other types of people, then feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And next time you are at a gig, have a look around, see how many of these 15 you can spot. There's certainly plenty of them knocking around at most live music performances. So that'll be everything for today's video, but as always, if you do enjoy this type of content, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.